The 2018 Mac Mini has user replaceable RAM. Let's tear it open and see how to do it. Welcome everyone, we have our Space Gray 2018 Mac Mini, and we're gonna upgrade the memory. To do this process yourself, you're gonna need a TR6 Torx security screwdriver, some spudgers or opening tools, a T9 Torx screwdriver, and a P5 Pentalobe screwdriver. We also want to point out that while replacing the RAM on your Mac Mini is not going to void the warranty, any damage that you cause will. So make sure you're comfortable doing this before going ahead. We're going to use one of iFixit's spudgers to open the bottom panel starting closest to the regulatory information. A simple pry opens it up and we move around the edge and it easily comes off. Very similar to the 2014 Mac Mini. We then have 6 security screws to remove from the shield/antenna. We're going to use our TR6 security screwdriver to get the job done. However, once those screws are removed, do not jump ahead to the next step because there is an antenna holding this thing into place. From our perspective, it is located here on the left-hand side of this shield. As we lift it up from the right-hand side, you can kind of see that antenna cable. We can move it out a little bit and you can see where that is attached. We need to carefully lay the shield back down and use our screwdriver to remove the anchor that is holding that cable into place. Once the screw is removed, we can take our spudger and easily remove that cable. Moving on, we need to now turn to removing the new fan and cooling system. There are 4 screws located, 2 on the front and 2 of the back of this large new cooling unit. Once again, as always, be careful not to pull this out once the screws are removed because there is a cable holding this in place towards the top of this fan. Carefully lift the fan starting from the bottom and moving towards the top. Watch out because that cable is very short. We're then going to use our spudger once more to remove this cable right here. Simply putting pressure underneath on the bottom should help it pop right out. We're going to be removing the motherboard of this computer. So we need to remove the 2 screws that are holding it into place. We're going to use our larger T9 screwdriver to remove these screws. Note, these were definitely difficult to get out, so you're going to need a little bit of strength if they're in there really tight. Using our spudger, we have another cable to remove there towards the back, and we're going to use our fingers to disconnect the power supply. Once both those are disconnected, we're going to turn our Mac Mini around and apply even pressure with our thumbs to the back of the heatsink. Just some slight pressure will allow the Mac Mini innards to be removed. We'll carefully remove the inside logic board of the Mac Mini, and then we can remove the shield and cooling system on top of the RAM units. Turning once more to our T6 or the TR6 screwdriver, we can remove the 4 screws that hold that cover in place. Once removed, thanks to the rubber edges surrounding the RAM, this cover will slide off exceptionally easily. With that out of the way, we now have our RAM units exposed, and we can upgrade them and replace them with the RAM chips of our choosing. Mac Mini starts off with 8 gigs of RAM, or 2 4-gig chips. Mac Mini supports up to 64 gigs of memory, so you can use any combination of 8, 16, or 32 gigs of DDR4 2666 SODIMM RAM modules. Replacing them is just as easy. Simply slide them down straight down, starting with the one in the back, then push them towards the Mac Mini and they will lock into place. It's very important to make sure your memory is solidly in place and locked in before reassembling your Mac Mini. With the new memory in place, simply reverse the process to put your Mac Mini back together. Apple can charge exorbitant prices for their memory upgrades, so being able to replace it yourself is extremely fruitful. You can pick one of the lower configurations and then upgrade the memory yourself in just a few minutes. If you want to find some compatible memory chips, you can find the links below in the description for ones that we can verify have worked. While Apple did revert course and make their RAM replaceable, unfortunately, the SSD is still soldered into place, so make sure you pick up your storage configuration before buying.